Bollywood Tiffin opens with the story introducing Max Fury Road. A man going by the name of Max is seen among the throng. Max used to be a police officer, but in the modern world, neither the leaders nor the police are in charge. Within itself, the planet is nuclear. After the nuclear war, the air cleared, the planet turned barren, and you were left alone. The children in Mexico were shown their family's vision, but they all perished. Max lived through it all. Here in his vehicle, followed by this, Max's car is struck and overturned by an approaching column of cars. Hares is subsequently kidnapped. He goes with these folks. On his back, there is a tattoo that reads Max's negative. He is a universal donor according to his blood group. Mexico actually escapes Maxim's grasp, who is attempting to enslave him, and at some point these individuals manage to grab Remix once more. In other words, these people have turned Mexico into their slave. Everybody works for a remote NGO. Here, Remote is the most powerful guy. He has 2 pipes attached to each side of a unique type of screw that he wears on his face. He can breathe thanks to these screws. That is, in order for him to survive, he must wear shikanji. The fact that his residence is on top of a mountain is significant. All of the individuals below are extremely frail. Activate the mode and inform everyone that you are, in my opinion, the best. I am your savior, you will awaken. Water then starts to pour out of the top. Everyone in this place smiles broadly upon seeing the water. Water is quite scarce in our day and age. Everyone battles for water since hunger and thirst are the main causes of human death. This is the one. It is revealed that the girl is called Furious 8, and that she is employed by Fat Joe. Prior to the fuel reaching the fuel station, she is slain by Important Joe, who had dispatched her and a few of his men to acquire gasoline from the school station. The car turns in an easterly direction. Another of its soldiers wonders if we should have gone straight ahead, but they reply that we will be heading in the direction of Pura. Due of his seniority, no one can delay his orders, which is why all the cars are heading east. Through the use of binoculars, the Sight Important enters the chamber, where he has imprisoned 5 virgins, who will give birth to their offspring alone in order to perpetuate his lineage. All 5 of the girls are from this area. She's taken them with her, he realizes. His men are to chase them, he orders. Hearing this makes this cotton army very delighted because he is prepared to sacrifice his life for what really matters. This fatty Joe has taken hold of Max, because they all require blood and are suffering from an illness brought on by nuclear radiation. Their name is Voice. Here we see a really frail boy who, in an attempt to capture everyone in Rio, is giving Mexican pan in front of his automobile. Blood is flowing to the word soldier's body through a pipe that exits Max's body, so that he can continue to receive energy and fight. She may have become a martyr by sacrificing her life, because she was a significant figure. In this instance, suffering martyrdom is a source of pride. In contrast, another person is depicted as someone who enters another person's territory, and is pursued by an automobile. This, one by one, every supporter of the cross is slain. Even the soldiers, who attempt to maintain pressure, are assassinated by locals who engage in combat. They simply murder everyone, but before GOSIM can stop them, a massive storm is approaching. Furiosa steals her vehicle and drives into the storm, but the soldier Max is born in front of also holds the key to the future. He runs into the storm while pursuing him, and when he gets close to the abandoned vehicle, he floods it with gasoline in an attempt to burn it down and end his own life. And just before he can blow up, Max grabs his hand, and then his automobile smashes into Freehoon SA's large car. The following morning, it was observed that the storm had totally subsided after one soldier's automobile flipped over. He takes him on his shoulder to the automobile where the free man fled with 5 girls, even though the soldier is dead from being chained with a chain. I'm moving in the direction of those 5 girls. He pulls a revolver on her and tells her to cut the chain. As the girl does so, Ferreira strikes Samui, and they get into a fight. The soldier who is attached to Max's chain then gets involved. He gets up. In actuality, it's not Bumrah. He's only desperate to get hold of him and give him the reward he requested. Then the soldier and the enraged take full possession of you. When the soldier realizes this, he gets happy and breaks off Max's chain, but Max punches the soldier and drives off, taking the recordings of the 5 ladies who someone needs to rescue from Fat Joe's clutches. She says if they manage to get away, if that's the case, follow me, because the obese woman, who is running to apprehend the entire army, was sprinting behind me in the direction of the car Max had stolen from here. Who knows where the fuel would have reached and the car would have stopped eventually. Mexico must take them all with it in the automobile from here because, according to rumors, I've set up a sequence in it that makes it impossible for it to function without it. Take them all to the mountain rocks, and walk them ahead, so they can realize this is their territory. She claims that I made an agreement with her that we should let her leave now. I'm not sure if she will abide by that agreement, or if she will take the girls to Mexico before entering their territory. At this point, the group's leader claims that although you mentioned that some people would pursue you, 3 wild people are pursuing you. You did, however, promise to provide them with oil in exchange for passing through this area, and that oil is in a round tanker behind their car. Before they get to that tanker, when she notices that the important guy approaching from behind with his entourage, Max starts the automobile and drives away. In the process, people from this area somehow end up inside the car. They demolished a rock in front, closing off any access. Immortan stops outside with his army, called Voice. On a sports bike, everyone sleeps. Begin riding their bikes after Max and Tunisia, and Max and Furious 8 murder each of these motorcyclists, here one by one, before they can leave this location. Fat Joe arrives at his car with his group, and just as Fat Joe is ready to kill him, one of the 5 girls is forced to stand outside the vehicle. It's a pregnant girl here. Joe should not shoot Cotton since he is Joe's child, and he would never intentionally hurt him. He feels that losing it is crucial, therefore, he makes every effort to halt the letter U train. When the chain he fired from his car became stuck on the steering wheel, he lost all control over his vehicle. However, this pregnant female emerged from the house, cut the chain, and noticed that there was a rock in front of them before they could steer the car. Their cars clash when they turn them in a similar way and hit the door. Additionally, the girl who choked the son is outside the vehicle, and when it stops, she tries to enter, but the door breaks, her foot slides and hangs on the quasi, and she hits the ground. She swings her automobile to the left, overturning it in an attempt to save the person trailing behind her. When she exits the vehicle, what's happening is that the youngster, who was in front of her automobile at the start of the story, is hiding there for the last stage of life, and is drawing blood from her body and injecting it into his. This was somewhat annoying, wasn't it? He claims that I had the opportunity to catch you guys and go to heaven with my friends, but I covered my face. In the automobile with one of the 4 girls, Max and I notice that Fat Joe's cars are still full after he says, "You have something else, love." The hand comes to the lips, the map goes absolutely silent, and the car has been driving all day. They pursue the dynamite on the ground and drive away, knowing that the convoy is pursuing them. However, as soon as Fat Joe's entire convoy crosses the dynamite, there is a blast that destroys all of their vehicles. Before Max and Serial Sar can depart, the tire of their vehicle becomes stuck in a swamp. That car stops and drives away from this location, pursuing Mix and Furious 8's vehicle non-stop. The people there are unable to study as a result, and since they are carrying salt, which I had intended to kill, I now want to assist them. He tells us that there is a dry tree in front, and we should distribute the axle of the car on it in order to remove the vehicle from the swamp. They managed to remove them, and they are currently fastening the car's cable to a dry tree. Then, when it approached the zone, the car pursued it. They kept shooting at them, and before they could kill them all, their vehicle emerged from the swamp. She walks a little further and follows the car. Mexico takes the oil can, and as they are unarmed, heads toward the automobile that is pursuing them. A short while later, they notice an explosion. Although Max appears to be dead, I am still alive. When the next 9 news vehicle is launched, all of their weaponry is discovered. Next, we leave here in the morning and continue our journey after driving all night. They come to a tower while driving through the desert. She claims that a tower just like this one existed where she lived as a youngster. They come up against the tower. She announces her name and the name of her clan after arriving. She continues by telling them the name of her mother. After that, they are able to ride a lot of bikes, all of which are owned by women. At this point, they also get to meet their mothers. They all realize what a wonderful opportunity this is, and they declare that they want to take the 4 girls with them to the place of their dreams. Sadly, an elderly woman informs them that the pressure they are experiencing is the same, and that although life was once worth living, it is now no longer worth living. They all decide that Saki will travel across the ocean to discover something new for herself after this, and I decide not to accompany McShane. My desire is to go down my own path. Mexico first meets a young girl after everyone has left. He claims to have visions of you and adds, "You promised to save me, but you were unable to do so. There is nothing but salt the way you are heading. Let's return to Important Joe. Both flora and water can be found there. Everything will be all right once we take charge of it." Max says they consent to the issue and again begin moving in the direction of the Important. The same vehicle that contains an oil tanker is Joe's place. They pass the remote's car and its driver, Moto, who recognizes that since there are no military, they are moving in their direction in an attempt to apprehend the Abyss man who is pursuing them with his men. I kill a number of them, including the most significant of the 4 females, manages to sneak into Joe's car, grabs a girl, and then tears out his flesh, killing him. Is it true that Bhavya has several voices and wants to murder them all? When I drive, this automobile with a large plant in it collides with an oil truck, killing everyone in it and severely weakening the company. I know it requires blood for that reason. They go for the remote control now that he has made her body normal by transferring his blood there. There are soldiers there, and although there are those who are overweight and display the corpse, everyone present is rather numerous. They cry with joy that the water being spilled here, because the remote control was pressed when the topic of justice was raised. When they see the water, everyone is delighted and appreciative of the notion that the area where the water came from is now scarred. Here, Haryanvi serves as the water dispenser, so there will never be a scarcity of water. It then comes out from above when the person he assumed care for has finished it, and this is where the story ends.